is that patent actually issued, or are we in a pending situation? A pending situation is nice, and the retailers sometimes recognize that, but if you have a knockoff, and there are guys in our industry that have been around forever that are very good at knocking products off, if you're patent pending, they will do their research and find out when you applied, and just figure they have 2 to 3 years at least before you get that patent, and they know they'll sell and be out of the business by then. So that patent pending sometimes carries no weight. Now, do we utilize it, and does it carry some weight? It does, but it has no real teeth at that point. Now, an actual issued utility patent, that gives us the knowledge that we can't be copied in the marketplace. It keeps the knockoffs at bay. It allows you to maintain price points. It gives you a lot of strength in the marketplace. So an actual issued utility patent is very beneficial, and that would also be helpful on the inventor side in generating a higher royalty rate. If you don't have any protection, very often we go to market without patent protection. Not just in the DRTV business, but anywhere on the shelves at retail, there are lots of products that don't have patent protection. Speed to the market, distributors' ability to act fast and with high volume, manufacturing capacities, abilities to market via whether it's TV, advertising, or internet, or search engines, whatever it is, that ability and expertise, and like I said, speed to the market, that's usually the most important thing. If you have no patent protection and knockoffs do come, and they're not paying royalties and they're manufacturing it with maybe not as much quality, they'll go out and, their number one tool in their toolbox is to undercut pricing. So our position as the the marketer of the original, sometimes that has significant pricing pressure at retail and elsewhere.
Okay.
So,
but there has been inventors that have brought you a product that was not patentable, maybe because it expired in the patent office, it's public domain, and maybe you made some tweaks and turns to it, and they've collected royalties. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like I said, a patent is not a prerequisite. It's helpful.
Okay.
And if we do have that protection, it helps us maintain price points. It helps everybody, and that generally will result in a higher royalty rate for the inventor. But it's not necessary. We market products without patents. We market products that are in public domain all the time.
Okay.
All the time, and very successfully.
And it's always good to come to you, like we said earlier, to really do that due diligence and research so they don't waste their time and yours, for sure.
Absolutely.
So, Michael, we really appreciate all the information that you've given us. This is fantastic and really gives us an insight to the intellectual property world and Direct Response TV and how your company operates, and we appreciate all the information. If you don't, give us some words of wisdom. There's inventors that are at that stage where they have that piece of paper with their idea on it, or they have the 5,000 units in their garage, or maybe they attempted to make a commercial and put it out there, and it just, maybe it's a little bit over their head. If you don't mind just giving us some words of wisdom to the inventors that are listening at all stages of the process.
I think we've talked about it throughout this interview. Due diligence is, do your due diligence, both on the product and the people that you're dealing with. There's a lot of different companies that do different things. There are a lot of people that are really in the business of taking inventors' money and filing patents and doing various things. But look into companies, look at their success, research them before you commit to them. Don't believe everything that everybody tells you. People are going to tell you positive news, quite often, and you just got to make sure you do your due diligence, that you research everybody that you're dealing with before you make a commitment. And as we discussed, the due diligence on your product, you got to make sure that you're putting your efforts and your resources into something that truly is a quality problem to solve, and that you're going down the right road. And you need to look at those variables that we discussed as part of your due diligence, everything from prior art and other IP to products that are on the market, historical vintage products. You need to look and make sure that your cost of goods, I mean, you can get a basic feel for what you're developing. Is it very complex and over the top to solve a very low-tech and simple problem? You got to make sure that you're chasing something that when you get to the finish line can be made for the right price to market it at the right retail price to make it successful.
Absolutely.
So really do your due diligence and make sure that you take advantage of all the different avenues like we touched on, everything from Google to eBay to the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Do your due diligence. Make sure that your product is viable. Ask for feedback before you go spending $4,000 or $5,000 to file a patent. Make sure it's marketable. Make sure people want this thing. Make sure that you get as much feedback as you possibly can, and be careful of feedback from family and friends. They generally don't want to give you bad news.
The good old pat on the back.
And the pat on the back. They sense your passion. They sense your desire to create this. They sense your excitement. They're family and friends. They don't want to hurt your feelings. So sometimes you need to maybe, like I said, maybe even try them all and ask questions there, or sometimes you need to go to a trade show and perhaps walk the aisles and see what else is available and discuss it with perhaps some representatives from some companies in general terms and see if the problem or your solution is something that they'd be interested in.
Great points. Great points, Michael. It's so important for the inventors to hear this directly from somebody that's had successful products that they've brought out to the market. Thank you so much for that, Michael. Michael,
one last thing, Brian.
Sure.
Everybody, inventors need to stay positive. You're going to have a lot of bumps in the road along the way. There are so many variables in the development process that, if you see these bumps in the road as roadblocks and not just speed bumps, a lot of good products will not get developed and innovation will not happen. If you stay positive and you see them as speed bumps and just obstacles that you need to get up and over or somehow get around and keep pushing forward, then that's when great products come to fruition.
And at the same time, make sure that you're realistic enough that if it just doesn't make sense, to move on to your next idea because you'll have another one.
Be careful with what you invest in,
right?
And make sure that you don't. We don't want to hear the stories of people spending their life savings and their kids' college tuition fund to try and fund an idea that, like we said, is not marketable or can't be made for the right cost or has already been done or violates other people's IP. You got to do that due diligence before you go spending the money.
Excellent. Michael Antino from Merchant Media. Website is merchantmedia.com. That's a way for us to get in touch with you, Michael?
Yep, that's a good place.
Merchantmedia.com. Thank you very much. Really appreciate everything that you've given to us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Like to also thank our sponsors who make Got Invention Radio happen. Inventors Digest Magazine. You can go to inventorsdigest.com and sign up for the print magazine. Of course, you can always go to inventorsdigest.com and stay up and tuned on different resources for inventors there. QuickPatents.com, PatentPride.com, GetInventionHelp.com, UIAUSA.org, which is United Inventors Association. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day and keep on inventing. We'll catch you on the next show.